So, did the military obey illegal orders with the Venezuela strike? Well, I think you have to go back and you have to ask if they obeyed illegal orders for the strike on bin Laden that captured bin Laden. Because lawmakers were only informed a couple hours before that happened. Another case is 1990 in Just Cause, Panama, where we took out Noriega. And that was weeks long, where we actually put boots on the ground and we removed Noriega, who we said was a drug trafficker and was, harming democracy and, threatening to block the canal. And that took weeks. And we had boots on the ground and we removed him. George Bush, the former, not the latter, he didn't get congressional approval either. He had kind of behind closed doors a little bit bipartisan support, but he didn't get approval. So what we're looking at is we're looking at just a continuing erosion of the War Powers Act, where Trump did notify the Gang of Eight, which are the top leaders in the Senate and the House, or after the operation had already started, a couple hours after the operation had already started. But it is along that vein where it's a continuous erosion of the War Powers Act. So if you ask if the military is obeying illegal orders, I think one of the things you have to do is you have to ask your representative and your senator what are illegal orders when it comes to this, not stateside, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But when it comes to foreign intervention, what are illegal orders? Because there were two resolutions that were brought up for votes to restrict exactly this in Venezuela, and the Republicans voted against them. Except I think Rand and maybe one other, Murkowski, had joined with Democrats on the second resolution, if I recall. Fetterman actually joined with Republicans on the first one, and then somebody, told him to get his head on straight. But yeah, there were two opportunities for senators, Republican senators, to shut this down before it happened because the writing was on the wall. They knew it was coming, and they chose not to. And big oil will be very happy with them. They will fund them appropriately because big oil likely will get a stake or a piece of whatever's to come in Venezuela. And nobody really knows how that's going to shake out yet. I don't even think this administration knows because there was no plan for that end, right? But yeah, you should ask your Republican congressman and your Republican senator how they feel about it. And can a president do that? Should a president be reined in? And should there be separation of powers between the three branches, right? Because right now, when it comes to war powers, it seems like that's slipping away. And again, this has, gone since '89, and then the authorized use of military force after 9/11 that gave the executive authority more power as well, which was then used for Bin Laden. So it's been slipping that way. And the way to change that is to get legislation that will halt that process and will bring Congress back into that fold for proper authorization before men and women of the United States military are used on foreign soil or in foreign airspace and could be harmed or killed. Right. And so the justification for this, again, very sketchy. Like the drugs from Venezuela are not a big issue in the United States. Colombia, Mexico, yes, but we're not striking them for some reason. Um, Rare earth minerals, is something that this administration wants, along with the oil and along with this whole let's capture the Western Hemisphere and have more control, especially one with a coastline like Venezuela. So there are a lot of personal things that Trump wants and will receive now from the big oil companies for doing that, and the Republican Party who towed the line with him. But that is a question that you should ask your Republican senator or Republican congressman. And the next question that comes up, and I've seen this a lot in comments, um, is this like a test case for this to happen in the United States where martial law is declared and U.S. forces, come rolling in and take over, probably right before an election to make it easier for the Republican Party? And I would say it can be whatever they want to try to be a test case, but that shit won't work. And here's why I say that. If you look at all the decisions that have been made with the National Guard, all of them have said, you have no justification to do this. And they have shut them down. And now Trump has backed down there because the courts told him to. Because somebody stepped up and said, no. And he has backed down and he has pulled that the thought of those deployments to like Portland and Chicago. LA got shut down as well, even though they were on the ground for a little bit there. So all of that has been shut down. Even the Supreme Court sided in the case of Chicago, which sent that ripple effect and then made Trump pull back. So there was no justification, right? And this fear, and I understand it because they want you to fear the fear that they will now use the military to come in and just prevent elections and do martial law and all that. I get that. We experienced that in 25 when he sent the National Guard in. It was like, hey, it's over. They want you to be afraid to vote. They want you to think it won't matter. They want you to think there's no sense in voting. And if you fall for that, because they're very persistent, and you have all these little Russian bots, and then American, influencers who are joining them. If you fall for that, then they get what they want. They don't have to do a damn thing. And there will be bluster. There will be fear. There will be, oh, I think we should do martial law, and I think we should do the Insurrection Act, and all these things. And you'll hear that. And there may even be an attempt to do that. And then the speed with which the courts will shut that down, again, look at all these decisions so far, will be amazing. Right? Because that's the kind of stuff that we don't tolerate here in the United States. And even with the military leaders, a lot of people ask, was it an illegal order for the military to go into Venezuela? Again, you have to go back. Was it illegal for military members to follow the order to go get bin Laden? Was it illegal for them to go get Noriega in 1990? These are questions. And these are things where the power of the Congress, they need to pull that back. If you're paying your representative to be your representative and you're setting them up with a cushy lifestyle, they should be doing what you want, right? And they should be following the law, and they should be following the Constitution. And they're letting that slip. So hold them accountable. Don't fund them. Don't vote for them. Push against them. All the things. But I hope that helps you a little bit. We have a history of this. And as always, Trump tries to push that line a little bit farther, but this has been something that has happened. Again, look in the United States and look at the decisions that have happened for the National Guard. And be positive about that. Like, be positive about that, and why it is different when we talk about the United States and any attempts to do this martial law or Insurrection Act and not have elections. The goal is fear. The goal is for you not to vote and think you won't be able to vote. So you don't register to vote. So you don't get others to vote. All that shit. Push hard to vote. Get other people to vote. Push hard. Okay. The goal is fear. Do not fall for that. We have been through a crucible, crucible here for a little bit. So we know better. Okay? But they're still going to push your fear button. Okay. Hope that helps. Thanks.